Welcome back to At First Glance. My name is Jared Wasson.
And I'm Pastor Michael Miller. It's good to be with you again.
Good to see you again, Pastor.
Good to see you, Jared.
We're heating up today.
We're getting to near the end of the church here now.
We are. Jesus is in Jerusalem, and he's about to have a big conversation with the religious leaders about a certain temple. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about what that means, because it means some stuff.
Means some stuff.
It means some stuff.
All
right. So if you're following along at home, which I encourage you to do, we are reading Luke 21, verses 5 through 9. Pretty sure. Or is it 19?
5 through 19.
5 through 19. Okay. It's longer. 5 through 19. 21, 5 through 19. Luke. Here we go. And while some were speaking of the temple, how it was adorned with noble stones and offerings, he said, "As for these things that you see, the day will come when there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down." And they asked him, "Teacher, when will these things be? And what will be the sign that these things are about to take place?" And he said, "See that you are not led astray. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am he,' and 'the time is at hand.' Do not go after them. And when you hear of wars and tumults, do not be terrified. For these things must take place, but the end will not be at once." Then he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be great earthquakes, and in various places famines and pestilences. And there will be terrors and great signs from heaven. But before all this, they will lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and prisons, and you will be brought before kings and governors for my name's sake. This will be your opportunity to bear witness. Settle it therefore in your minds. Do not meditate beforehand how to answer, for I will give you a mouth and wisdom which none of your adversaries will be able to withstand or contradict. You will be delivered up even by parents and brothers, relatives and friends, and some of you they will put to death. You will be hated by all for my name's sake, but not a hair on your head will perish. By your endurance you will gain your lives." We're getting hot now. He's heating up. Mm-hmm. He's got some words. He's got some pretty bad news, but it is good news in a backwards way. Mm-hmm. Pretty interesting the way he goes about this. Mm-hmm. You can tell or at least I'm reading this as as we're getting close to the end here, he is speeding up. He's being more transparent. He's really hitting the nail on the head with what he means. Mm-hmm. And then this reading is very clear, I think.
Also, the writer of Luke's Gospel is writing at a time when this has taken place.
Absolutely.
So this anticipation, and it came earlier after Jesus arrives in Jerusalem. He weeps over Jerusalem, anticipating that everything is going to be thrown down, that the temple will be destroyed, that they didn't recognize this moment when God's presence had come to them.
Right.
And so, to the readers of Luke's Gospel, this is like vivid because they've experienced it. It's happened. And so it's a confirmation of, their own experience is a confirmation of what Jesus has said.
Yeah. And let's take a second to walk through that, because maybe not everyone knows what happened, that the temple was destroyed. Mm-hmm. And we're talking here about the physical temple, but we know about the temple of his body as well. But shortly after Jesus died, and the church kind of started, Jerusalem itself was kind of sacked by the Romans.
Yeah, so I think it was around the year 70. There was a Jewish revolt that was
kind of put down pretty
and
mercilessly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The temple was destroyed. All the great statues and all the valuables were taken and hauled off to Rome. as kind of spoils of war. So they were seeing this while they were writing this and saying, "Oh, it happened pretty quick."
Mm-hmm.
So that's important, I think, to visualize what they were actually seeing. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah. And so, as Jesus is speaking to his disciples here about the persecution that they're going to experience and the handing over by people who are close to them, not planning ahead their defense, but trusting the Spirit to give them words.
Mm-hmm.
To the readers of Luke's Gospel, that's their present moment.
It is.
So it's like Jesus speaking through this Gospel directly to the readers of Luke, who are
Right.
in that moment.
Yeah. I mean, this was, like you said, this was happening for these guys at their time this was being written. And it's happening to Christians all over the world now, too. One moment in recent history that stands out to me is, I think it was 21 Coptic Christians that were executed by ISIS on the shores of the Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is still happening all over the world. I heard there was a genocide in Nigeria of Christians currently going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that we as today's disciples need to be ready for, even if we don't see it happening in our culture right now.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean it won't.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus tells us to be on guard for that as good advice for Christians today as well as it was 2,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we're less aware of it because, I mean, that those stories don't so much come into major media
No, they
here
don't.
in the United States, but there are those places, a variety of places around the world where Christians are facing that kind of deadly persecution.
Right. I read a kind of a sad article. We're getting sad today, I guess. But the first few centuries of Christianity, they had called the Age of the Martyrs. But it's something like 90% of all Christian martyrdom has happened within the last 100 years or so. Especially with World War II and its aftermath. Massive persecution in the Soviet Union
Mm-hmm.
and the communist countries around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean we're facing more martyrdoms today than we ever have been, and I think that's important to recognize because, like you said, it doesn't get talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something to be on guard. There's a couple of good books that I would recommend if someone's interested on the topic. Tortured for Christ is one of them by Richard Wurmbrand. He lived through both Nazi persecution and then Soviet persecution with lots of other people, and he tells his story. He was a Romanian. I think he was Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So martyrdom and persecution is as live today as it ever has been.
And when when you think about, I guess we're always encouraging one another to listen to the text first and ask what is this saying?
Right.
What does it mean, especially in its historical and biblical context? But then, how does that connect to my own experience?
Right.
So, I think that these tend to be challenging. I mean, there's this section in each of the Gospels,
Yep.
or at least the Matthew, Mark, and Luke have a piece like this, which it's got symbolic language. It's playing on apocryphal readings in the Old Testament. So it seems kind of distant from the way we usually speak, the way we think.
Absolutely, it does.
And there's a level of what do I want to say? there's a level of threat that I think most of us don't experience in our daily lives.
Absolutely.
So, how does this connect with our reality?
Mhm.
Is a good question to dig deeper into. I don't know if you have thoughts about that immediately. I've got some things that I would connect to from the earlier part of the gospel.
I mean, if we're just looking at our culture that we live in today, over the last even 20 years, we've seen Christianity kind of decline in our culture pretty heavily and steadily.
Mhm.
Up until just recently, there's been a little bit of an uptick, but it doesn't account for the decades of decline that we've been in.
Mhm.
And we've seen in other parts of the world, just like any other minority group, if Christianity becomes a minority group here in the United States, we will face that same risk that Nigerians are facing today. I mean, maybe it won't ever get that bad. I hope it doesn't, but it might.
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean we should not be Christian anymore. As we're seeing here, Jesus is saying it kind of is a reason to be Christian, right? To kind of step into that place that's very uncomfortable, downright deadly, and embrace it because we have hope, like we read last week. We have hope that, I mean, even if our lives end, it's not going to end
Mhm.
permanently. We're alive through God the Father, and
Mhm.
yeah, there's always hope.
Mhm. Yeah, and by your endurance, you will gain your souls. That's the
Absolutely.
concluding line. In the context of this whole gospel, there's been these reversals
Yep.
that Jesus is speaking about, and that he's demonstrating what it means to be present to the people who are considered the lowest
Mhm.
in the society. He's attentive to the people who are in need of healing. He's always there with and for those who are in need, those who are lost, as we said in an earlier episode. So I think that that's a piece of it. I mean, that is totally counter to the Roman Empire way of being.
Absolutely, it is.
And I think no less so in our own society and culture.
Right.
There's an irrational fear again of immigrants, people who are coming from other places,
Mhm.
which has been a theme in American history that keeps coming back again and again. And so people who are motivated to leave their homes and go to a completely different place are either in desperate circumstances economically or politically, their lives are in danger, and then they come and meet a fear
Mhm.
that causes people to not trust and to say go away.
Right.
I think Jesus is in this gospel especially is gathering people in. So how do we stop or resist holding to ourselves the resources that we have, the good position that we have, and be open to welcoming,
Right.
creating community where all have a place.
Absolutely. We want to make sure as Christians that we're not playing into the hands of us becoming those that oppress.
Right.
That's not the way.
And I think part of Jesus' own story and this text in particular is when you do that, when you go counter to the norm, it creates backlash.
It does. Absolutely, it does.
So I think that's what I think of in terms of our own situation right now, is how to stay true to the message of the gospel when the world around us is wanting to turn against people in fear.
Absolutely. Yep. And when we got to be ready for the backlash
Mhm.
that comes with following Christ. Yeah, I agree.
So think about that. Where does this text? Where are the challenges that you experience? In our present moment, that it's difficult to stay true to the message of Jesus. Where do you fear that you would catch that backlash? And what is God inviting you as you listen to that?
Absolutely. That's a good reflection to have.
Unfortunately, we don't have to figure that all out by ourselves.
Thank goodness. We have a
we're
community around us that we can talk about this with.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's very helpful. It's part of the benefits of being a part of the church, right? It's the being one body, working together towards a goal.
Mhm. By your endurance, you will gain your souls. So hang in there. Don't lose heart.
There's always hope. See you next week.